Before I say anything else this week, I just want to let you know that there is a change in my main channel uploading schedule. I will be uploading every week now until the semester ends. I announced this on my video last week in Venom, and I have so many ideas that I wanted to do for Venom that I wasn't able to do, but I feel like if I do a video every week, I can try to get them all out. So yeah, I will try to be a little bit more productive in getting videos out, and here we go. Now let's talk about some Daredevil, because oh my gosh, this show is amazing. I didn't formally review season 1 of Daredevil, but my formal review is it's awesome. Please go watch it. It's one of the best things that Marvel has ever done. Now in this show you have Matt Murdock, aka Daredevil. He is a blind lawyer by day in his firm, Nelson & Murdoch, with his partner Foggy Nelson, but at night he is the costumed vigilante Daredevil. He takes care of the streets in Hell's Kitchen in New York, and he does it very effectively. Season 1 was more or less an origin story. He went up against Wilson Fisk, aka the Kingpin, and in the end he got his own back and Wilson Fisk got put into prison. This season, you see, he's been the masked vigilante for a while, and things have been relatively quiet until a man named Frank Castle, aka the Punisher, shows up on the scene, and he just starts blowing these gangs away, and people are unsure why he's doing it. I loved the character development this season because in season 1 you have Matt Murdock. He's so very definitely in the right. He has his reasons for doing what he's doing. He takes out these bad guys. He really wants to keep Hell's Kitchen safe. That's his motive. He wants to make it a better place. He's a New Yorker at heart. He wants to keep it safe. In this season, you really see that he's fallible. He has these moments where he doesn't always make the right decisions and it doesn't always work out for him. You see this very early on in the season, especially in his interactions with the Punisher, and especially in episodes 3 and 4. Essentially, they're doing the same job. They're both vigilantes, but they have very different ways of going about it. Daredevil doesn't kill. It's against his moral code. He'll beat someone into a coma, sure, but he will not take someone out. The Punisher has absolutely no qualms about taking people out, killing them, and just brutally murdering them. So it's very interesting to see these two ideologies clash. Not just in fistfights and action scenes, but just talking to each other. They have these conversations that very early on in the season that are so compelling. You don't even miss the action. It feels like action in itself. Just talking, these conversations are absolutely fantastic. And Charlie Cox and John Bernthal had such great chemistry between them as these two characters. Another point of conflict for Matt this season is his double life, both as a vigilante and as a lawyer. There are select few people that know who he is. Foggy knows who he is. Claire Temple, the aka Night Nurse, she also knows who he is. But there are several people that don't know. But he does really have to think about what he's doing as Daredevil because it's starting to interfere with his life as Matt Murdock. And a huge part of that is Elektra, played by Elodie Yung. Now, I liked her a lot. I don't know if she really needed to be in this season. I think for Matt's character development, it was great, but she as a character, I didn't feel so much for, especially going toward the end of the season. It almost felt like the writer's room was a bit conflicted about how they wanted to proceed with a main anti-hero or so coming into the season, because you have the Punisher, who is this great character, but you also have Elektra, who's this very iconic character, and these are both characters that fans really wanted to see in the show, so we get them both now. If it were me, I probably would have waited to put Elektra in season 3 or the Punisher in season 3. One of the two I would have left completely out and have that be the main conflict for season 2 and then season 3. The presence of both of them at once made the storyline feel a bit convoluted, even if they did tie together a little bit. But that being said, they were both very instrumental with where Matt Murdock's character development is so far in this season, because his life is falling apart around him. He's getting beaten. He doesn't really know how to proceed with Karen Page now, as they're starting a romance, and Elektra, his ex-girlfriend, comes back into his life. Elektra really is distracting him from his normal life. He's missing legal appointments, he's missing court cases, and that really drives a nail between him and Foggy. But I really wanted to see his character and his motives be challenged by what he does when he is Daredevil, and I felt that they did that very well this season. Overall, I loved the story arc of the season apart from Elektra. It really challenged Daredevil. It really challenged all of the characters to rethink what they think about the vigilante concept. Now let's get into the action because, oh my goodness. I love the characters, I love the acting, but the action is easily the best part of this show. Season 1 had such great action scenes. That hallway scene in episode 2 of season 1 is far and away one of the best action scenes I've ever seen in a movie or TV show, period. Season 2 had a lot to live up to in terms of the action, and my goodness, it far surpassed it. We know that season 1 had like the one action scene that just stood out and it was just iconic. Season 2 has at least 2 or 3 of these that just top it. There is one in particular in episode 3 that I won't spoil for you, but my jaw would drop the entire time. This is how you shoot an action scene, ladies and gentlemen. Film Class 101. Just go watch this. Now here's the thing, because it is a Netflix series, it's not bound by network constraints. There aren't certain things that you can and can't show. Daredevil takes advantage of that, but it doesn't go too excessive with that because of the nature of the show. It's a vigilante. He needs to be violent. He needs to throw down when he needs to, and it can't be some like PG-13 MCU film action. No, he needs to throw down. And especially with a character like a Punisher, you need to have these excessive violent scenes. I don't think it was too gratuitous. I don't think it crossed the line too much, but I think it was the perfect amount. It needed to be dark and gritty in that way, especially when you do have characters like Punisher and Elektra. And that's what I like about this series. Like, it knows that it has the freedom to do it, but it knows when to constrain itself in terms of action, violence, whatever. I love that Marvel has teamed up with Netflix to do these TV series because they have a lot more freedom to do things that they couldn't necessarily do in the films or even on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. or Agent Carter on ABC. They can have these darker, grittier stories. And especially for the Punisher, you need to show he is a ruthless killer, and you cannot hold back on that. You need to see what he does. I think what this show does so well, and what I think other shows need to learn from this, is that you can have these antagonists, you can have these heartless antagonists, but you also need to make the audience understand why he or she is the way that she is. I love that this entire television show, it's not just an origin story for Daredevil. It's an origin story for Punisher. It's an origin story for Elektra. It's an origin story for Wilson Fisk. You need to have that background information on your villains. You need to have these three-dimensional characters because otherwise you're not going to care about them that much. That's writing 101 for you. As a writer, I can tell you this. And with such a large rotating cast of characters, you need to give these characters even time to shine. I love that they did that in season 1, and I love that they do this again in season 2. There are episodes where Foggy and Karen and the law firm, they come to the forefront, and then there are episodes when you have Matt dealing with Elektra and with Stick and the Punisher, and that's at the forefront. And I like how they do that. You can do that in a TV series because you have the room to do that. In the end, guys, I do have my gripes about season 2 of Daredevil, but that is just absolute nitpicking. Like, I loved this season. I loved watching it over and over and over again. I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to watch this in the short amount of time that I did, but every time an episode ended, I'm like, I need to find out more. I need to find out more. I need to find out more. That is great television. It hooks you, it keeps you until the end, and it keeps you asking questions even after the show has ended. Yeah, that is my Daredevil season review. I cannot wait for season 3. I can't wait for more of these Marvel TV shows on Netflix. They're doing everything right. I really highly recommend you watch Daredevil. Even if you're completely unfamiliar with the character, like I was, you'll have a great time with this show. If you like what you've seen here, you can subscribe here on my main channel for new videos every Sunday now, not just every other Sunday, every Sunday. You can subscribe on my second channel. I won't post as frequently on there as I did during Venom, but I will still try to upload a few bits and pieces every now and then. Again, thank you guys so much for sticking by me through Venom. It was super fun to do. You can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, Spotify, Tumblr, DDP, etc. I'm trying to crank out new articles for you. Thank you guys so much for watching. Remember to keep living awesome lives, and I will see you next week. Bye.